Alright, you guys, I have been wanting to make this video for so long, and I tried to make it yesterday, but it was just all over the place and I deleted it because I just hated it. But a lot of what I'm going to say is coming from the intuitive eating book, like just the regular purple book, and then this book, which I think this is a good book if you are like nervous about getting into intuitive eating. Anyway, what I'm going to say applies to seriously all kinds of dieting. And yes, I am talking about if it fits your macros as well, which is very weird because I literally thought I was going to track my macros until the day I die. Dieting is honestly probably the root cause of all your binging issues. I mean, I know some people binge because of emotional things, but for me personally and a lot of people, there's really no huge emotional issues going on. It's seriously just because of dieting. It makes you think about food 24/7 and you are in one of two states. You're either on your diet or you're off your diet, and there's really no in between. It's just on or off. And then as time goes on, your binges get worse and worse and weirder and bigger. You will wake up in the middle of the night and eat peanut butter out of the jar, cereal out of the box. You'll eat like dry top ramen out of the bag, ice cream from the carton, and you're doing this all alone, like in the dark. And people think that they are out of control around food like that, but if you think about it, like I bet this has happened to you. You feel out of control when you're doing it, and literally nothing that you tell yourself can stop you from what you're doing. Like, there's no way you could say anything to yourself to make you stop eating. But you're doing this alone, and the second you hear someone wake up, all of a sudden you put the food away and you go back up to bed. And that's like, that shows that you're not out of control. It's just that the desire to not be caught is greater than the desire to keep eating. So if you were really out of control, you might care like who's hearing you and waking up, but you have no control, like you couldn't stop. Then after you do that, you go to bed, and then the next day you make these huge deals with yourself, like you're only gonna eat vegetables today and coffee and tea, and that's it. You're gonna have a clean slate and then get like fully back on track the next day. Just do it again, and the cycle gets stricter and stricter. Like your dieting gets stricter, your adherence to the diet gets stricter until obviously when you fall off. And then the binges just get bigger and bigger. Everyone, including myself, thinks, well, I don't think this anymore, but everyone thinks that restriction is the cure to chaos, but restriction is what causes chaos. So restriction is not going to cure the chaos. It is going to just create more and more of it. Dieting, just like once you're off and you binge, you've broken a rule. And when you start eating by external rules, this is when all the chaos happens, because once you break a rule, you've already broken the rule. Like, what can you do? You know, you feel like, well, I broke the rule, like I'm just gonna eat everything now. It feels literally like you're gasping for food, and the only thing that will release that horrible tension that you have is binging and eating all the food. Like the book said, you will start eating like there's no tomorrow. And for you, there literally is no tomorrow, because you know that you've broken a rule, and then tomorrow you're gonna have to fix that and get back on track. So there is no tomorrow with the food that you're eating, because you're not gonna be able to have it. Even when you track your macros, like I don't care, you can fit anything into your macros. I fully get that. Like, I know. I tracked for like almost 8 years. Even though you can fit stuff in, you're still confined to certain numbers, and it's just never enough. Like, you can maybe fit 3 Oreos in, but you're stuck to 3, and you feel like you just can't have more than that. And so you want more automatically. So yeah, that all happens. You binge, and like you buckle down harder and harder and harder and diet harder, and then you binge harder, and literally dieting does not work. Tracking your macros doesn't work. Like, yes, it works. Okay, I know that sounds bad, and it does work. You can lose weight, you can gain weight, you can maintain. Yes, it totally works. but you still get in that mindset of external rules that you have to follow, and eventually you end up gaining the weight back. Like, it just happens. And when I read Brain Over Binge, she was saying how if you're on a diet and you want to stop binging, you're not gonna stop. Like, you need to stop dieting. I always just thought, well, she needed to stop dieting and everyone else needs to stop dieting, but I don't need to stop dieting because that's not my problem. My problem is that I just don't have self-control. I just felt like they all need to stop dieting because dieting is their problem, but my problem is self-control. My problem is just willpower, and I need to just power through this. Like, I can totally diet and get over this. Well, no, I never could. I never did. It has never gotten as good as it is now until I completely stopped tracking my food and started intuitive eating. And it has not been a perfect journey so far. The first night when I decided that's it, I'm done, I'm not tracking anymore, I definitely ate way too much. And it wasn't a binge, but I mean, it was like s'mores, cookies, cereal, ice cream, which sounds like a binge, but it wasn't. But it was too much. I'm trying to undo about 8 years of habits, so I can't expect it to be perfect, but I'm still so much better than I ever was. I haven't binged really at all this whole time. I haven't wanted to either. I find it helpful to eat things that I don't know the nutrition facts on. Like, now I will actually eat the dinners my mom cooks, and they're very good and I enjoy eating them, but I would never have them before because, you know, I didn't know the macros. I didn't know really how much was in everything, because I still do keep like a tally of calories in my head. No, I'm not tracking on an app, but I can't help that it's just a thought that pops into my head because I've been doing it for so many years. When I eat things that I don't know the calories of, that kind of helps, because then I don't know where I am in the day and it doesn't affect the choices that I make for the rest of the day. There have been times when I will eat more than what I need. Like, I'm already full, I'm already satisfied, but I'll still keep eating because it tastes good. And this happens during times when it now totally makes sense, and I do not feel bad about it. Like, last night at the Armenian festival, I ate a normal amount of dinner, and then we bought desserts and we brought them home. And I had one pastry, I had part of another pastry, and then I had 2 cookies. I mean, that's a lot of dessert. That's not a binge, but that's a good amount of dessert, more than I needed. And I just was like, oh, well, yeah, of course, of course I have more, because I only get these foods once a year, so there's that scarcity factor and the feeling that there is no tomorrow because this food isn't coming back tomorrow. Like, I'm not going to get it again, so I need to eat it all now, which is the same for everyone, even for people who have never dieted. Like, think about Thanksgiving. Everyone overeats on Thanksgiving because you don't have that food every day of the year. It's not, I mean, you could if you wanted to make it, but people don't. You only have it once a year, so you want to eat it all. Like, another example is if you ask someone what they want for lunch or dinner, they'll give you a simple answer like sushi, pasta, a sandwich or something. But if you ask that same person what they would want for their very last meal on earth, it all of a sudden becomes this huge, extravagant meal. So it just, now when I eat like too much of something, it totally makes sense. And it's not this emotional, like, oh my God, I'm so out of control, I cannot deal with food, like, I just can't do this. Like, it makes sense now. Obviously, like, big things for me have changed, like the whole binging thing and overeating. That has definitely changed, but there are also smaller things that I noticed that have changed. Like, I am nicer about food. If somebody wants a bite of my food, they can have a bite, because I don't feel like I need to hoard all my food because, my macros and this is all I get for the day. Like, if someone wants some of my food, go ahead. Like, if it ends up that you ate too much of it and I want more because I'm still hungry, like, I can just get more. It's not a big deal. And this is probably my favorite thing. I eat frozen yogurt way more often than I ever got it while I was tracking my macros. Because when I was tracking, I would only get it on refeeds, and it literally always had to be perfect, like the perfect flavor, the perfect toppings. It had to look perfect because it's my refeed and I have a coach, and like, I don't know, my check-ins coming up, they might take away my refeeds if this, if my progress isn't going well. Now it's just like I can literally get frozen yogurt whenever I want. And sometimes I won't be hungry for dinner, but I'll be craving frozen yogurt, so I'll just have that instead of dinner. And I don't have to get like a huge amount, and it doesn't have to be perfect because I know I can go get it tomorrow if I want. Like, I do not have to wait 10 days for a refeed. I've also become more aware of the external eating cues and like rules that I've placed on myself. One day I was freaking out about school. I was like crying and sobbing, and I was trying to do this homework and I couldn't do it, and then I had class later that night and I just couldn't stop crying, and I was not even thinking, and I ate a lot of granola. Then I started crying more because I was like, oh my God, I wasn't even hungry. This is just so not intuitive eating of me. And I can't believe I just did this. But then I went to school and I realized, like, I just ate a lot of cereal and I'm very full. Like, I'm not getting hungry at all. Who says I have to go home and have dinner? If I'm not hungry and I'm still full from the cereal I had, I do not need to have dinner. What else? I don't really know what my body is doing through all of this. I've actually lost an inch on my waist. I haven't weighed myself, but I mean, if I've lost an inch around my waist, like I probably weigh less than when I started. And let me tell you, I am eating what I want. If you want to try intuitive eating, seriously, please read the actual intuitive eating book. And then this one, it is How to Have Your Cake and Your Skinny Jeans Too. If you're gonna try it though, you have to commit to it. You can't, well, not even try it. Like, if you're going to do it, you have to do it. It is something you can try, but you can't, I don't even want to say try, because when you think try, then you still will think like, I'm just trying it and the diet is coming back. Because if you think the diet is coming back, you're never going to get over that feeling of like, I need to get in all the food now because I know the rules are coming back. So if you're just gonna try it and not commit to it, you probably will binge and you probably will overeat, and that's totally normal, and that is what anyone would expect you to do, because you think the rules are coming back, you think the diet's coming back. Of course you're gonna binge and eat everything because you think you're not gonna be able to. You don't know when, but you know eventually it's gonna go away. So hopefully this was streamlined and made sense. I feel like I tend to go off on random directions. But if you guys have any specific questions, like if you want me to do a Q&A or something, because I feel like it's easier to answer actual questions rather than just me talking about whatever I think about it, let me know, and then maybe I'll do like a post on Instagram, like a Q&A post, and then people can ask their questions and I can get them and then answer them. So I'm gonna go. Hopefully this was helpful, and don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff, so I know if you guys like this or not. And let me know if you like these types of like sit down kind of information videos, or more of like the vlogging throughout the day, because I don't know what's better. I like both when I watch other people's, but let me know. All right, bye you guys.